Top diplomats are set to address the growing tensions between Turkey and Greece in the eastern Mediterranean. The dispute centres around a stretch of water around Crete and Cyprus that's claimed by both sides, both if it is rich in oil and gas resources. Turkey sent a research ship escorted by gunboats to the region earlier this week, sparking a rebuke from Athens. Greece's foreign minister is now in Vienna to meet with the US Secretary of State. The EU will also take up the issue at the Foreign Affairs Council, which is holding an emergency meeting today. From on this story, we're joined by Dimitris Tsarouhas from the visiting scholar at Georgetown University. Thanks very much for joining us here on Euronews. Greece and Turkey are no strangers to territorial disputes, but what makes this one so contentious?
Thank you for having me, first of all. You're right, they are not strangers to this sort of dispute, but this is a bit different because this time it's not a strict bilateral dispute with regard to the Aegean Sea, but it rather includes the much wider region of the Eastern Mediterranean, in which other countries are also important players. And therefore, the potential of conflict is higher precisely because this has ceased being a strictly bilateral issue. In fact, if one follows Greece's position on the matter, Greece is taking the diplomatic position that this is not a Greek-Turkish dispute, but rather a Europe-Turkey dispute. It is in this way trying to shape the contours of the possible debate about the issue in the way that it wants.
Now, the fact that France has sent in military reinforcements, this helicopter boat to the region, does that risk inflaming the situation even more?
There is certainly a danger of escalation from this point onwards if we consider the reaction that the decision by President Macron has caused in Ankara. On the other hand, there is an attempt to mediate between the two sides, spearheaded by Germany, which is holding the presidency at the moment. And to my understanding, both Paris and Berlin are actually in agreement about the significance of actually having a direct dialogue between the two sides. So there is a danger of escalation, and I think that the mediation efforts undertaken right now by Germany in particular are going to be very crucial in us being able to reach the next stage of this, which will hopefully be a de-escalation of the situation, with Oruç moving back towards Antalya, diffusing the tension, and then the two sides engaging in dialogue with one another.
Now, Turkey is in the midst of an economic downturn. The lira is tanking against the US dollar to historic levels. How much of what is happening in the Eastern Mediterranean is actually being forced by the fiscal issues which are happening with inside Turkey?
I'm very glad you're raising this point because I think it is very pertinent. Turkey has been undergoing tremendous economic difficulties for quite some time now. It has been following rather unorthodox economic policies, and many argue that from this point onwards, the attempt it has made over a number of years to peg the value of the local currency, the Turkish lira, to the US dollar is actually going to prove unsuccessful. I therefore think that there is a very high degree of linkages between the foreign policy rhetoric and activism that Ankara has been displaying over the last few years, with accumulating domestic, economic, and also political problems. And therefore, this bravado on the part of Ankara can at least partly be explained by an attempt to take away attention from the serious domestic problems, and if you like, shift that to a more international or foreign policy environment in which it can count on the support by nationalist voters and similar coalitions.
Dimitris Tsarouhas joining us here from Georgetown University. Thank you very much.